you have to say, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And
You got it. Here we go.
Alright, stop stealing my lunch. You already got the pasta feature.
Let me redo the interview real quick.
What's going on, guys? Landon here with the SJND Sports Talk podcast again. And on this episode, we got to interview a very special guest, Coach August Mangin from the 49ers.
A special thank you to Father Kim for allowing this all to happen.
Make sure to look out for this episode's Easter egg. It's going to be a football randomly throughout the video. And we're doing a giveaway actually too. We're going to be giving away a 49ers hat. So all you have to do to enter that is comment the timestamp below where you find it and send proof that you subscribe and like to the channel to our Instagram.
And the first person to do that will get the free hat. See you guys there. I know you had that win last night, so congratulations on that.
Thanks. It was much needed.
Going back to that win, what does that mean for the team going forward with the rest of the season, morale-wise? How are you guys feeling right now after that big win?
I think we're feeling pretty good. It was good to get over the hump and just kind of finish those games that were up. I think our guys will have a good feeling about everything going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Does it feel bigger, like just having it be against Seattle, like their division rival, obviously? You guys got history against each other. Does that feel any different than just any other game?
I think it's all the same. I know it's more important to get the division wins, you win the division, go to the playoffs automatically. But with it just being best record possible, every win's important.
All right. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself so the audience knows who you are?
Okay. So, August Mangin. I am from Lewisville, Texas. I was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. My parents were in school when they had me. They moved to Texas when I was like less than 1 year old. So I kind of grew up there, played sports kind of my whole life, and then ended up going to LSU for school. I was a walk-on there, played 5 years, 4.5, I guess, however you want to count it. Then I got done playing. I worked overseas, kind of like in the Caribbean for like a couple months. And then one of the coaches that I played for had called me just randomly, asked me if I wanted to be a GA, which I was done doing shift work. So I was like, yeah, sure. Didn't ask how much it paid, didn't really care, and lived the poor man's life for about 3 years, and then kind of worked my way up the ladder. Coached in college for 10, 11 years, I can't remember exactly, before I got opportunity to come out here to work for the 49ers. Been here since 2021.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. So you were kind of like, how old were you when you realized you wanted to like work in pro sports? Or like, was it something that progressed naturally with you like playing in college? Or did you always know you were gonna like be a coach or work in pro sports? Or was that your idea? Or
didn't really think about pro sports. Being from the South, college football is like everything. And I really wasn't a Cowboys fan growing up. But just getting into college, doing all that, and then about 3-4 years into it, and then once I kind of figured everything out, I was like, pro football would be way better to coach in than college. So, and it's been great. 49ers are awesome. I never thought I'd be living out there, but it's been great.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, you've told us a lot about what's so great about it, but we're curious to know what are some challenges you faced in your path in college football and now in the NFL?
Pressure to perform, pressure to succeed. It's very competitive, very hard business. This isn't a slant at like the media or anything like that, but you could be having a great year and you have one bad play and then people are calling for you to get fired. So once you kind of know that and just kind of understand what it is, you just learn to fight through it.
How do you deal with that?
You just got to know that you're doing the best job you can. You're doing everything you can to win. Do the best for the players. Just be a good person all around, and whatever happens, happens.
hero?
Yeah, definitely. I guess it all comes naturally to you, but you talk about a lot of the challenges, the great things, but what do you like specifically do? What does a day in the life look like for you as being part of the 49ers?
So my day's a little bit different than the other coaches. I have a 1.5-year-old at home. I make it a priority, try to like come home around 7 to see her. This is during the season too. Make sure I get to like hang out with her for like 20, 30 minutes before she goes to bed. So on the reverse end of that, I'm getting up usually around like 2:33 in the morning.
Yeesh.
And then I'm pretty much there working until 6:30, and then getting there, going home. I mean, as were most of the other coaches, they get in around 5:36, and that's because we practice in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have an afternoon practice team, so everyone's getting in a little bit earlier. Kind of like when I worked at LSU, we practiced in the afternoon. I wasn't getting into the office until like 7:45, 8, or 7 if it was an early day, but also wasn't leaving until like 10:30, 11 at night. Just a little different.
Yeah, which do you prefer? Do you prefer getting out later or starting earlier?
I prefer the morning, I think, because I've just gotten used to it. So, but like today we're off. I mean, I went in for like a little bit. When I woke up at 7:30, 8, went in for like an hour just to make sure I got everything done from last night's game, breakdowns and all that stuff like that.
After all those serious questions, what would you say is your most embarrassing, funny, football-related moment in college or high school or NFL?
Okay, well, I've got one that's kind of relevant to what's going on in the U.S. right now. All right, so this would have been 2016. Is either 2016 or 2017. We played Nicholls State. I was at Northwestern State. It's a small school in Louisiana. Nicholls State is where they have the Manning passing kit. Down there on the bottom of the earth, there's nothing else around there. And there was a hurricane coming. They didn't cancel the game. They moved it up like 3 hours. So we played at like 9 a.m. There was no stoppage of the clock. Halftime was 10 minutes.
What?
The game got over with in like less than 2 hours.
That's crazy.
And we ended up losing like on like a last minute field goal, something stupid. So like if we had more time, we would have beat them, but it didn't matter. And as soon as the game got over with, you could see like the dark clouds. Like you could see it coming. Then it was only like, oh, that's like 20 miles away. So like everyone's like hurrying to get on the bus, getting in cars, just like leaving to go back home. And like as the bus is going up the interstate, it just starts dumping rain.
That's great.
I was like, what are we doing?
Did they allow you guys to take any timeouts or anything, or it was just straight through?
Injury timeouts only.
What?
It was like the fastest game ever.
Oh my! It was
I think we ended up losing like 10-7.
high scoring affair.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Next question is, what is it like working like at this elite level, NFL level? So like, what is the vibe? What is the pressures like? And what is like the fun times on?
Pressure's really high, especially with the 49ers. The people in this area really, really love the 49ers, and they're a pretty good franchise, huge fan base across the U.S. When you win, it's great. When you lose, it's not the greatest, especially with the team that we have right now. A lot of great players, but in the NFL, every team has good players. So our payroll's high. Everyone thinks we're supposed to win every game.
In the meantime, how's your day? I mean,
Yeah,
we didn't really ask that. How's it been?
Really tired. We got back at 2:30 last night.
Jeez.
You guys flew back immediately?
So we flew back immediately. You can't fly into SJC because of like, I don't know, like noise complaint or something. Planes can't get in like past 10:30 or something. So we have to fly into SFO and then get on a bus and go all the way down to Santa Clara.
That's a long drive, man.
Yeah, so adds an extra hour.
Yeah, but hey, it was worth it.
Yeah.
I do actually have a personal question though. What's Brock Purdy like as a guy? Is he nice? Is he cool?
He's like the nicest person ever. Like everything you see on TV, like that's 100% true. There's no BS to him.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like never throws people on the bus. Will always take the blame no matter what, even if it's not his fault. Great person, man.
Are most of the players like that, just super like chill down to earth?
Most of them are. There's some that aren't.
We're not gonna name them.
We're not gonna ask for names. We'll take your word.
Now the 49ers have done a great job of like weeding those kind of people out. In other places I've been, LSU, Alabama, like they're filled with them. So like when I got here, I was surprised about how like awesome everything was with the players.
Your LSU career, you said you walked on. What was that experience like for you?
Very difficult. I questioned myself a lot while I was going through it. Like, should I actually be doing this? Like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, I'm not really getting to play much. I'm just a practice dummy for the most part. I did get to play a little bit later on in my career, not a whole lot. But going through all of it and being able to finish and making all those connections and everything like that, that's when it became worth it.
What is like the atmospheric like difference between college and NFL?
I feel like college atmosphere, the fans are a lot more into it on game day. Like it's loud, crazy, kind of like what you guys saw like from Cal on like game day last week.
Right.
That is like every game in the SEC. Like like this Ole Miss LSU game that's going to happen tomorrow night. Like that atmosphere is going to be wild. Like I feel like Ole Miss should win. Like they're a better team, but with LSU at night, that's a tough place to play.
Yeah,
and then it's a game. It's like, no, those fans are crazy, man. That place is gonna be pretty loud.
Is that atmosphere that much like game changing? I guess for the players.
Yeah, once it gets like a certain level, everything changes. Like you're not gonna be able to like hear things as well, especially like with the quarterback mic. Now that they're doing that in college, your huddle has to be different. You have to go on different like silent counts, double counts, whatever you want to call it. You have to you just see people off just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean the stadiums are like, I don't know if this is correct or not, but it feels like they just feel much larger. There's just so many.
Well, so they're the same size, okay, like size wise. But in the NFL, what you have is like every seat is like a seat back, where they're like your own individual seats, where like they fold down. Yeah. As were a lot of these college stadiums, it's like bleachers.
So they're just
everywhere.
Packing them in,
So they just pack people in. Yeah.
That's why they reach like 100,000 people. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you a full city in there.
Seen like Penn State whiteout game. It's crazy.
I know you touched up on this earlier actually, but I want to know a little more deeply from your perspective. What would you say is so unique about the 49ers and the Bay Area's culture that sort of like distinguishes it apart from the rest of the league in their areas?
I just think it's like the rich tradition, the history. This team has like always expected to win. You're always expected to be in it. Growing up in Dallas, that's kind of how it is with the Cowboys. And, spending as much time as I have in like Louisiana, they want the Saints to win there, but like it doesn't really seem like people really care that much. Yeah. It's kind of like when you look at the Rams in LA, like they're like people really care about the Rams. The 49ers, there's like the fans, there's always going to be people at the games. Every place we go, there's a huge contingency of 49ers fans. It's a good thing, like talking about like the pressure to like win, but it's because the fans actually care about the 49ers. And it's kind of like a flip. Like in my mind, like what I've seen is, being, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, or being in Alabama is like all the fans care about college football. And the NFL is kind of like an afterthought. It's like, it's whatever. Like if they win, the Falcons win, the Saints win, like cool, who cares? But like here, it's like the opposite. Different. It's like, no, like the 49ers, like that's who 49ers or the Warriors or the Giants or that's who has to win. And then, I'm not saying that people don't care about Cal or Stanford or San Jose State or any of those, but it's kind of like, if they win, it's cool.
Yeah.
But if not, like the 49ers better win though.
Yeah. They're not held to the same standard.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to say that. It just seems a little bit different, and I hope you guys can see where I'm coming from with all that.
Definitely. That sort of has to boost your morale, don't you think? Especially with the guys too.
Yes and no. It boosts your morale, but it's like a, hanging on every thread type thing from the fans, and it's like, man, there's only been one undefeated team in NFL history. We can't win every game. Like these teams are good, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan myself. We'll never learn. we'll always expect
Hey,
to go
I get
17-0
it.
every season.
It is what it is. I get it.
But hey, as long as we get it done in the end.
Yeah, that's the goal. And we've come up short the last 3 years, but just got to get healthy, and I think we'll be all right.
Exactly.
And outside of football, how does the Bay, or just being in the general Bay Area or California, how does that compare to Louisville, where you grew up, or LSU or Northwestern? Like, those are all in Louisiana.
This is way different. Way different than where I'm from, what I've been used to. The weather's great here. The weather's way better here than where I'm from. Texas, it's like 100 degrees, just like burning hot. Louisiana is really hot with like 100% humidity and just like sweat 24/7. I like didn't really own any sweatshirts until I got out here, and now it's all I wear. When I go home and visit family, I'm like, oh my God, what is this heat? Like, what am I doing? Like, this is miserable. So I'll say that the weather has been phenomenal out here compared to where I'm from.
Can't complain.
The food here, it's different. Like I don't want to say the Mexican food because I know that's not the right way to say it, but like the Asian food and
Mexican food's great too.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's awesome out here.
Yeah.
But then like in Texas and Louisiana, like I'm, like the barbecue and then the southern like Creole Cajun food, like it's just not the same out here. So
culture
kind of like I get it out here, and then when I go back
Exactly.
home, just kind of like get my fill of it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
It's sort of like what ties everybody together even more here with football, just the culture in general.
Yes, no doubt.
For sure.
And moving back to LSU and Northwestern, how does it feel being an alumni of those schools? Do you still have a relationship with the school at all, or?
LSU a little bit, a lot of those people that I worked with or knew when I was in school there, like don't work there anymore. Kind of got like they got a new coaching staff, all that kind of stuff. So usually when those things happen, they bring in all new coaches, all new support staff people. So don't really have a whole lot of relationship with those guys anymore. And then Northwestern State, not really at all.
Straight up.
We respect the honesty. I do understand that you played from 2005 to 2009, and you coached during 2019, and so you would hopefully have two national championships under your belt.
I do.
Yeah. Congratulations on that, first of all. But
thanks, I appreciate it.
Could you describe the experiences or the differing experiences you had winning as a player and a coach?
Well, again, as a walk-on, in 2007 we won it. I didn't really play. Yeah. I was like the practice dummy. But a lot of those guys from that team that were like big-time players, I'm still friends with today. Like, have a lot of great experiences, a lot of like people that, lifelong friends that were on that team, that coaches I still like keep in touch with to this day that were on that staff. So you don't know it at the time, but as you, like when you get older, you kind of just like you can look back and be like, wow, that was kind of like crazy with who was all there and connections you make and all that kind of stuff. And then 2019, that was way different as a coach. We were pretty good. It was kind of weird. It was like we were winning games by like a lot of points, but it felt like we were losing because we weren't like blowing people out by even more. So love Coach O, but he was kind of like on us, trying to like get us going, even though we were winning by like 40, 50 points sometimes.
So it felt like a loss when you only won by 40.
Yeah, so like I remember that year we played Ole Miss and we won by like 40 points or something, like at Ole Miss.
It's ridiculous.
But we gave up 400 yards rushing. But it's because like we were just beating them by so like we got all the backups in, like really, like the players didn't really care. So like we got up like 35-0, like in the first quarter or like early second, and then we just started trading scores, and they just kept running the ball, and like we were just coaching staff was just getting ripped all next week after the games. Like,
what can you do? You won by 40.
Exactly, but hey, it is what it is.
I mean, that's what made the team so great.
Just a lot of good players.
Yeah. And you played with all these great players like Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Is it weird like seeing them in the NFL, like your team going up against them?
I don't think it's weird. I'm more like happy and proud for those guys. Like we even have a guy from the team. He's on the practice squad right now for us here at the Niners, Terrace Marshall. He was one of the receivers. I know he's getting back through some stuff. Like every time I see him, like I'm just like proud of where he's gotten to, and all that kind of stuff. So it's more of like just proud of those guys for making it, because the NFL is really hard. It's a really hard business.
Definitely. Yeah, love that.
More so for the players and the coaches. So just seeing those guys be able to survive and do well, I'm happy for them.
And what is some advice you would give to younger student athletes who do want to pursue a career in pro sports?
In pro sports, I would say just whatever sport it may be, just try to get into it any way you can. I'm just trying to think of an example. Like I don't know much about baseball, but if like you want to be like a coach or whatever in like professional baseball, like, you know, it's probably not going to happen with the Giants or the A's or whoever to start off with. Like, figure out like, hey, how do I get my foot in the door? Just whatever way possible. And then once you get your foot in the door, try to outwork everybody every day. Just be consistent with it. And that's how you move up the ladder. And that's how you get to where eventually, hopefully one day you can be. Like that's the only way I know. Like, I don't necessarily like seeing all these stories sometimes on the TV or internet of like, you know, these guys that like, I don't want to say luck up into jobs or luck up into positions, but like that's not realistic.
Right.
You know, most people that I know that are coaching in the NFL or coaching in Major League Baseball or the Warriors or whoever, like they just didn't start off there. Like they started off at like, you know, the Santa Cruz, whatever, and kind of worked their way up. Like my first job for coaching for like 3 months was at Missouri Southern in Joplin, Missouri. That was a D2 school. So like I didn't start off with the 49ers, and you know, I kind of just got lucky with it, to be honest with you, and just tried to do my best to maintain and stay with it.
Yeah, push it down
as long as I possibly can.
Try it down hard, yeah. And you've coached college at like many different levels, many different schools. Do you have any advice on like college recruiting?
It was always like when I was in college, it was always, you know, the coaches would go to the schools, or I would go to the school as a coach, and then you would talk to the head coach. Hey, like, do you have any player like, and like the head coaches would kind of have an idea of like, hey, this person can do it, and then it was up to you as like the, you know, position coach to, you know, get the film, watch the film, bring it to the head coach. And, you know, all the schools I've always been at where like we would watch it as like a staff, and then you'd have like a huge board of like rankings of like every player, and, you know, you could adjust the order. And then after that, it came down to spots available. I know it's different now with NIL and all that stuff, so it's like money available.
Yeah.
Which that's a whole different world that I haven't been a part of, so I don't really know how any of that works. But I know in football, college, it was 85 scholarships, so you'd have to like know how many you were going to have available after the season, and that's what you would work off of. So you're like, hey, I know we're going to have, you know, 24 available due to graduation and all that stuff, or guys graduating. And like when you're going out recruiting, that's how many scholarships you had. At the D2 level, you could split scholarships, and at the 1AA level, you could as well. So you had 66 scholarships total, I think it was, and you could split those to make up to 85. So like kids with like good grades, like those were easy to recruit, because what you could say was, hey, like, you know, we talked to our admissions, you're good enough to play here. What we're going to do is we're going to use your academic scholarship, and then we're going to pay for the difference. So you'll be on a full ride scholarship. And then the difference in that money from the academic to the athletic scholarship, that would kind of go back into our pool of money that would use to get to 85 scholarships total.
And you talk about like the education, if you have better grades, it's a lot easier. Could you touch on it a little more on a more, not general basis, but just a wider basis of how education coincides with sports? Like,
well, I can say this, especially after being in the NFL, this is my 4th year here, and I've already seen players like come in and like they're out of the league. So even if you're the best at your craft or, you know, whatever you're doing, like sports are not forever. And like, you're going to need some sort of education or some sort of like something to fall back on whenever you're done. Like Tom Brady played till he's 40 years old, and like he doesn't need to be working as a broadcaster. I'm sure he's made enough money, but like you're always going to have to do something after you're done. And the more educated you are, the better your grades are, hopefully you get into a good school and you can get another degree, or if you're going to like go to some sort of trade school,
Yeah.
Like whatever the case may be, like you're always going to need something to like, support yourself, support your family, like, just be a productive person in society.
Definitely. I mean,
that's just my thought. That's my 2 cents on it.
No, for sure. I totally agree with that. Sports obviously aren't forever. You got to always have a backup plan. But you talk about the backup plan, you talk about the future a lot, but has your experience to school, obviously you got a master's and stuff, does that help you excel in certain situations and being a coach of football?
There were certain classes that we took that like I think helped me understand more of like the business side of it. So I got my master's in sports administration, so kind of understanding how all like the dollars, and especially in college football, like because that matters a lot with Title IX, with women's sports, women's athletics, how those dollars have to be spent, how everything has to be allocated. So as a coach or as a person working in athletics, like if something happens where like you're getting like, you think something's unfair, like this women's sports team's getting something that you as like the football team are not, or the baseball team or the basketball team or whoever, like once you kind of understand like the laws and like how everything has to be, like well, no, I get it. Like it's not maybe necessarily what I wanted to hear, but this is the truth. This is what's behind it.
You mentioned earlier, that sort of has stayed in my mind this whole time. You mentioned a couple like characteristics and traits a couple of coaches that you played for had in the past. And I want to know if there was really one coach who had a strong impact on you that sort of like you formulate the way you coach.
There's one coach in particular that I'll look back and look up to a lot with how he dealt with a lot of things. He had a pretty rough childhood, didn't have a whole lot. His whole thing was always being there for the players.
Was he a
no
high
matter
school
what.
coach or?
No, he's a coach in the NFL.
Oh, okay.
But I worked for him probably 10, 12 years ago, something like that. But his whole thing was like he would rather get to know the players, be like a father figure for them type thing.
Yeah.
And even if they're struggling with something, just try to be there more for life, more for what they may be going through. Because in the end, like everyone's going through something.
Exactly.
Like, doesn't matter how much money you're making, how little money you're making, everyone's going through something. Everyone's dealing with something. So just knowing that you could be there for them and be able to help them out in whatever way they need possible, even if they don't ask for your help. Just letting them know, like, hey, man, like I can probably see you're going through something. So if you need me, I'm here for you, man.
Yeah, that's definitely something really important. Having a more personal relationship with your players too. That's great. That's always great to have.
But then still having to fit, you still got to draw that line between like getting too personal or too friendly with them and then being the coach. Like you don't want to be like buddy and like hanging out, because then those lines get blurred when like it comes time to like actually coaching and getting things done.
What would you say are some goals you have going into the rest of the season? What are you hoping for? What are you looking for?
Win the division.
Yeah,
get to the playoffs, finish the job, and I think that has a lot to do with us getting healthy. It's not that the guys that we have healthy right now aren't good enough to get it done. It's just that, like, hey, it's life. Things are always going to happen. Every game there's new injuries. We got to get healthy. Like, that's first and foremost. And then once we get healthy, like, that's the teams that get healthy are the ones that are usually there at the end.
And let me talk about the goals for the rest of this season, but looking more towards the future, what would you like to do next outside of your career with the 49ers or football in general?
Go somewhere, be a special teams coordinator, kind of like run my own room, either in the NFL if I were to get luckier in college. That's kind of like the next step I got to just do, take a leap of faith, wherever that may be. And then jokingly with my wife, I always say I can only do this till I'm about 55, so it's a lot of stress, a lot of hours. So,
definitely.
I don't know, but I think I can do this till I'm about 55. And then after that, I don't know, maybe hopefully slow down a little bit, enjoy life a little bit more, smell the roses, that type of thing. Get a job, I don't know, do something less stressful.
If this is too personal, let me know, but how does this job you have, how does it impact your family? Like, is it hard for them not having so much time with you?
It's very hard for them, 6 months a year that they don't really see me a whole lot. That's why I try to I just suck it up and get up early in the morning, and that way I can spend a little bit of time with them at night. Normal game week, I'll get, if it's a home game, I'll get like Friday afternoon off and Saturday afternoon to kind of hang out with them. But other than that, like if it's an away game, get like no time, and then Sunday through Thursday, it's pretty busy. I'm not getting home till like 7 o'clock.
How does that differ within the off season? Do you try to maximize your time with your family?
Off season's good around here. We don't really work on the weekends. I'm home by 5 during the day, weekdays, Friday, depending on what we got going on. I'll be home around noon. So, you get like a good amount of time off after the season. I'll get like last year we got 2 weeks off, but it's because we went to the Super Bowl. The years before that, it was like a month, which was much needed because it's like you're just going just so much.
Yeah.
And then you like spring break. You got a spring break for like if you have kids and stuff like that, and you get like a little summer break. So it's not bad. It's just the season is just really long, really hard.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, for sure.
But hopefully
that's why I don't understand how some of these basketball coaches or baseball coaches that have these like super. I don't know how you do it, man.
Yeah, it's just a everyday commitment. It's crazy.
Yeah, everyday grind.
Yeah. What is your favorite memory being part of the 49ers?
Winning the NFC Championship game last year. Finally getting over that hump. So I've been here since 2021, losing to the Rams when I thought we were the better team. Losing to the Eagles when I knew we were the better team. And quarterback gets hurt on the first drive. And it's like, oh, man, like, what are we doing? And then, being down as much as we were to the Lions, and then being able to just regroup at halftime, put everything together, come back, get it done. And I would have said the best memory would have been winning the Super Bowl, but, we fell short, didn't play well enough, too many mistakes across the board. And those are tough life lessons to learn, but I feel like our guys have learned from it. They understand what's at stake, what they got to do to get fixed. We're sitting here at 3-3, which isn't great, but we're leading the division. Got a chance to play the Chiefs next week, get some redemption, let ourselves get a little bit of a cushion. So everything that we want to do is right in front of us. We just got to keep our head down and keep working, man.
Yeah, for sure. So we are coming to a little bit of a close, and we want to end off with a fun question. So the people want to know, if your life depended on it, who on the 49ers roster are you calling and trusting to pick up?
That's an easy answer, and I'm sure if I did call him right now, he would answer. But
is it possible we put that to the test?
No, because I know he's on a plane right now. It's the snapper Tabor Pepper.
Yeah, I know. That's hell.
And I'll talk to him and see if he can maybe do one of these with you guys as well. Because he does it for like the radio stations, and he does some. He's a good dude. He's all over. He does like Twitch streams and all that stuff. So like. Yeah, he's a good dude. He's flying back to Michigan right now. So,
well, that's awesome. Thank you.
That's all the questions we have for you. If you got any for us, feel free to ask away. But
how's Father Steve treating you? He's been good.
Yeah,
he's been doing
pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave us the chance to meet you, so we
exactly.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
He does a lot for us.
He does a lot for us too, man. He's been awesome, and he's always there for us as the coaches, and I'm sure he can tell you, he's like, I don't see them till like past 9 o'clock at night on Saturday. That's like when we're done before the game. So he's done a lot for me too. So I'm glad I could help you guys out.
Yeah, we appreciate
it.
We
really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, just if y'all need anything from me or anything else, just kind of go through Father Steve, and I'll do my best to kind of get it done.
All right, awesome.
That's awesome.
That's great. That's great to hear.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
I think it's awesome you guys are doing this.
Thank you.
Obviously, this is something you guys are excited to do, want to do. To me, this is kind of like what I was trying to explain with like working in pro sports. This is a podcast you guys are doing through school. This is you starting off.
This is the starting off.
This is us getting
This is starting off.
And you always start somewhere.
You're starting somewhere, and you just keep doing it. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And the more people you meet, the more connections you make. And you never know where this might lead you if you keep doing it and doing it this way, like at a high level with just putting y'all's best effort forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
So want to say it's awesome, guys. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
just keep it up.
Yeah.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you, and have great luck with the rest of the season.
Yeah, we'll let you get back into
Yeah,
family.
of course.
Good luck with the rest of the
So-
season, Coach.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thanks for making it this far, guys. A big shout out to Coach Mangin again for taking his time out of his day to meet with us.
And especially big thanks to Father Steve Kim for giving us this opportunity in the first place.
And we still have slots open for our $50 Nike card raffle from our last video, so make sure you go check that out.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.